So part 3, ito alam nyo na to pero siyempre daanan pa rin natin. What are the elements of due process? The case is Kings of Kings Transport versus Mamak, where the Supreme Court declared that due process is divided into three. Actually divided into two, pero formerly it was divided into three. The NTE, which is the notice to explain, the NOH, which is the notice of hearing, if the employee asks for it, and the NOD, which is the notice of dismissal. The doctrine now is that hearing is not always necessary. In the case of Perez versus Philippine Telegraph Company, the Supreme Court initiated the rule that a hearing is only necessary, well, under the instances if it was asked or requested by an employee. Pag sinabi ng employer, di gusto ko mag-hearing, that's the time na magkakaroon ng hearing. Pero pag hindi naman siya humingi ng hearing, okay na yung NPE tsaka NOD, Notice of Dismissal. Notice to explain, this is a very important requirement of the disciplinary proceedings. For this is, ito yung pinakasimula. NTE must always be in a letter form. It cannot be oral. Again, let me cite the Kings of Kings Transport versus Mama. What must be contained in the NTE? In the case of Glaxo Wellcome Philippines, the Supreme Court clearly stated that the NTE, there is no prescribed form in an NTE. It need not be in a legal form. No prescribed form means that you can do your very own NTE, well, in accordance with your style. But it must contain the following. It must contain the facts, the pertinent facts. Second, it must contain the grounds for terminating the employee. Dinagdag ko lang, it must contain the damage that was incurred by the company because of the infraction. We will explain this later. And the directive to the employee that he is given the opportunity to submit a written explanation on why he should not be dismissed within a reasonable period of time. So let's go to the grounds. As explained in the King's case, in the NDA, there must be a detailed narration of facts and circumstances that will serve as the basis for the charge against the employee. So, andun yung mga facts and dapat din nandun nakalagay yung the company rule that was violated or the provision of the labor code that was violated. May mga NP ako nabasa, nakalagay lang, please explain in writing within 24 hours from your receipt of this letter why you should not be dismissed from service for stealing company property. So ano yung nakikita yung error dito, yung mali dito? Ang mali dito is first, there is prejudgment. Second, it does not contain the facts and the circumstances surrounding the charge. And third, it does not speak of the company rule or labor law violated by the employee. And fourth, which is to me is the most important of all, it does not speak of the damage that was incurred by the company, which is the result of the infraction of the employee or the violation of the company rules that he made. Now, dun sa binasa ko kaninang NTE, very clear that there is prejudgment. Kaya prejudgment is a partial due process. Parang nagmoro-moro ko lang. Due process means that you give the opportunity to the employee to present an explanation or defense that he will not, so that he will not be dismissed. Even if you are giving him the right, but your NTE appears that you have already prejudged him, then there is still no due process to speak of. So let's go back to the letter. If you have adjudged the employee of stealing company property, then what's the point of asking him to explain? Diba? Ang nakalagay din sa NT mo, please explain in writing why you should not be dismissed for stealing company property. So, prejudged na yan eh. Nagkaroon ng prejudgment. So, for stealing company property is already prejudgment. So, maybe, ang dapat ginawa mo, that company ang nilagay mo sa NTE, that company properties are missing and it appears that you are the person responsible for the loss. Ikaw yung person of interest. So yun, walang prejudgment. May nawawalang mga gamit sa kumpanya and parang ikaw ang itinuturong responsible. So hindi mo pa pinaprejudge. Otherwise, kung pinrejudge mo na, yun nga, walang due process doon. Second, is that the NTE must contain the facts and circumstances. Doon sa binasa kong NTE, nakalagay din for stealing company property. What property are we talking about? Kailan nangyari? Stealing when? Stealing how committed? If this NTE does not speak about what property was stolen, when it was stolen, how it was stolen, naturally the employee cannot be expected to make an explanation, an intelligent answer, if he is not given the details of the charges against him. So, dapat lalagyan talaga ng detalye doon sa NTE. So, dapat lagyan mo on January 1 at 1:30 in the morning, you were videoed by the CCTV, loading in your car with plate number X42123, company chairs, tables, and supplies. This apparently is stealing company property. Ngayon, nakalagay dun sa NTE natin, please explain in writing without telling how many days. So, dapat nakalagay din yun nga, yung at least 5 calendar days. Explain natin later on yan. Yun, it must, apart from the narration of facts, the NTE must contain the company rule or labor law violated. So, the additional praise that you violated company company rules or company policy, hindi pwede yan. Dapat sabihin mo na you have violated Article 1, Section 1 of our company manual, or maybe you're guilty of serious misconduct punishable by dismissal under the labor code. Serious misconduct or gross habitual neglect of duty. Yung ganun, dapat sasabihin mo yun. Kasi kung hindi mo rin sinabi sa kanya kung ano yung specific company rule na na-violate niya, again, he cannot be expected to make an intelligent answer. Therefore, hindi pa rin kompleto yung due process. Parang wala ka pa rin due process kung ganon. So, is it necessary that you put in your NTE that you can consult a lawyer or a union officer to assist you in your explanation? Well, hindi naman kasi it's his lookout. Dapat alam niya na yun eh. Although it's his right to have a lawyer, it is not incumbent upon you to tell him that that is his right under the law. So, dito sa administrative proceedings ng labor, ignorance of the law is not an excuse. Dapat alam niya na meron siyang abogado, meron siyang union officer. Hindi mo rin nga dapat sabihin sa kanya na you can submit evidences or affidavit of witnesses in your behalf to support your explanation. So, hindi mo na kailangan sabihin sa kanya yon dahil in fact, hindi naman ikaw yung lawyer. So, you did not give him labor advice. In a labor proceedings, it is the lookout of the employee to know the rights, to know his rights. It's not your obligations to tell him what they are. So, kung hindi mo sinabi yon sa NTE mo, it's okay. Hindi yung due process nandun pa rin. In the King's case, the Supreme Court defines reasonable period of time to be 5 calendar days from the day the employer received the NTE. So, 5 calendar days. Yung sinasabing reasonable time, 5 calendar days. And what is the reason bakit binibigyan siya ng 5 calendar days? Well, first is for him to study the charges against him. Second is, for him to get to a lawyer or a union officer to help him to to gather data and evidence for students. And well, and also, bakit 5 days is for you to give him the opportunity to already look for another job. Well, this is in line with the employer's duty to good conditions of work which are just and humane. Hindi mo nang bibigyan ng NTA yan kung wala ka namang intention na tatanggalin siya. So, kaya binibigyan mo siya ng 5 days. Ngayon, if the employee is given less than 5 days to explain, will it make the NTA invalid? No, it will not make the NTA invalid, except that the employee still has 5 days to explain, regardless of the fact that his deadline was fixed by the employer to less than 5 days. Maski nasabihin mo dun sa NTA mo na 24 hours lang yung opportunity niya, sabihin mo 3 days lang, well, walang bearing yon. It will not invalidate the NTA, but it will not also make a binding statement. Maski nasabihin mo 3 days yan, 5 days pa rin. What other matters can be included in the NTE? Well, you can put in your NTE that you are suspending the employee pending his investigation. Ito yung tinatawag na preventive suspension, which is allowed not by the labor code but by the IRR of the labor code. So what are the grounds for the preventive suspension? Hindi lahat ng infraction, hindi lahat ng violation preventive suspension kagad, katulad ng mga HR na nakakausap ko. Pag sinabing, may violation, okay, NTE, preventive suspension. No, mali yun. Dapat specific yung offenses. Preventive suspension is justified only in cases where the employee's continued presence in the company premises during the investigation poses a serious and imminent threat to the life or property of the employer or the employee's co-workers. So, yun. Yung preventive suspension dapat merong serious and imminent threat to life or property of the employer or the employee's co-workers. Kung wala namang, halimbawa, nagsuntukan sila, sinuntok niya yung boss niya, pagkatapos iniimbestigahan pero yung boss niya nagpunta na sa Amerika, so wala nang reason para magkaroon ng preventive suspension. So when is it impossible? Not because the act concerns lives or property of the employer or the co-workers will make the preventive suspension valid. Apply by party of reasoning, dapat merong clear and present danger. Is there a serious and imminent threat to life or property? Yun nga, sinabi ko sa inyo kanina, kung merong away pero yung mga protagonist o antagonist wala na naman doon sa lugar, hindi na pwedeng magkaroon ng preventive suspension. O halimbawa, ang violation is pilferage, pagnanakaw, pero naglagay na naman ng security guard o ng CCTV, so wala nang serious and imminent threat to property. So use your logic. Is there a serious and imminent threat? There being none, do not do preventive suspension. Most of the time, transfer is more practical than preventive suspension. Otherwise, yung preventive suspension can be treated as a constructive dismissal. So, 30 days yung period, can it be extended? Kung ang tanong sa bar is, can it be extended? Yes, it can be extended. But dapat sisweldohan mo ng tao. There must be already payroll reinstatement. Can there be an indefinite preventive suspension? Yun ang ingatan nyo. Pag yung preventive suspension, walang period, indefinite yan. Nakita nyo sa question sa bar na yung preventive suspension, walang period. So, if it is an indefinite suspension, it is already deemed a constructive dismissal. So, what is the difference between a suspension as a penalty and preventive suspension? Suspension which is imposed as a penalty, it can be more than 30 days, but there must be due process. Once imposed, it can no longer be extended even if there is payroll reinstatement. So, yung suspension na penalty, due process mo na, tapos sinuspindi mo, pwedeng more than 30 days, pwedeng 6 months yan, and then hindi mo na pwedeng extend yan. Maski nasabihin mo, hindi, babayaran kita, basta suspendido ka pa rin. Hindi. Unlike preventive suspension na pwede mong ituloy-tuloy basta babayaran mo yung tao. Yung suspension, pag halimbawang itinuloy mo yan, maski na binabayaran mo, ang suspension na sa penalty, magiging constructive dismissal yan. Now, going back to an NTE, what if there's refusal to receive an NTE? Anong consequence nun? Diba, okay, empleyado, meron kang NTE, sabi ng empleyado, ayoko tanggapin. So, yung refusal to receive an NTE is the misconduct. Misconduct yan. Ayaw mo tanggapin, misconduct. Ngayon, yung tinanggap naman pero ayaw sagutin, refusal to answer an NTE is insubordination. Insubordination kasi ano yan, actually it's called a notice to explain, but actually it's an order. It's an order for you to answer the charges against you. So if you do not comply with that order, then it's in insubordination. Now, unless you put in your NTE that failure to answer is a waiver, failure to answer an NTE is insubordination, or some call it disobedience to a lawful order. So, kung nagawa na insubordination dahil hindi sinagutan yung NTE, that's another infraction. Because it is management prerogative to compel his employee to answer, because syempre may nangyayaring anomalya sa opisina niya. So I need to know what's going on. That's why I'm ordering you to answer, to explain. So pag binibigyan ka ng NTE, tanggapin mo, sagutin mo. Isa sa mga management prerogative to na which is held sacred by the Supreme Court. Because kukunti na nga yung mga management prerogative ng employer. And one of this is para bigyan ka ng NTE tapos hindi mo pa tatanggapin, o kung tinanggap mo hindi mo sasagutin. So, how do you serve an NTE? Dapat personal service, or at least kung hindi talaga kaya personal service, may registered mail. So, pwede bang i-waive ng employee ang NTE? In the very first instance, siguro sa employee's contract niya, sabi niya, kung nagkaroon ako ng infractions, waive ko na yung NTE, okay na, hindi na ako magpapa-NTE. So, that waiver is against public policy. The case of Asia World versus NLRC. So, ano nga yung rule pag halimbawang walang NTE, ibig sabihin walang due process. So, halimbawang ang dismissal must always be accompanied by just cause and due process. Halimbawa, walang due process pero may just cause, ano yung anong resulta niyan? So, if there's just cause, halimbawa, nagkaroon talaga ng violation, but hindi lang na due process, the employer is only liable for nominal damages. Now, can you ask the employee to just resign during the investigation? Hindi ba constructive dismissal yan? Ito yung palaging ginagawa ng mga HR na pag halimbawang may problema, sabihin mag-resign ka na lang. But can you ask employee to resign during the investigation? Yes, an employer does not violate any law when it gives the employee the option to resign, because there's nothing illegal with the practice of allowing an employee to resign instead of being separated for a just cause, so as not to smear her employment record. So, hindi na tawag na binigyan mo siya ng graceful exit, okay yon. But dapat may mga parameters yan. Kasi pag sinabi mo mag-resign ka, you do not follow the parameters, magiging constructive dismissal yan. So, ano yung mga parameters? So, nag-iimbestiga ka, sabi mo mag-resign ka lang. Kung hindi, i-demanda kita, that is constructive dismissal. This is different from offering an employee a graceful exit, kasi hindi graceful exit lang ang binibigay mong option sa kanya. Sinasabi sa kanya is i-demanda kita. So vitiated yung consent ng kanyang resignation. It's just like twisting his arms. This is forced resignation and therefore this is constructive dismissal. Ngayon, yung asking an employee to file a resignation on condition or promise that she will be given a priority for re-employment. Bawal rin yun. Sabi mo, mag-resign ka na, susunod na magkaroon ng opening, bigyan ka namang priority. Again, vitiated yung consent. Forcing an employee to resign in exchange of monetary benefits such as separation pay. Still, this is constructive dismissal because the consent is vitiated. Yung halimbawa, yung ginagawa ng mga ibang mga employer na okay, mag-resign ka and para makuha mo yung separation package mo is that kailangan hindi kumuha ka ng clearance. And sa clearance, isa sa checklist sa clearance is resignation letter. Hindi pwede yun. The only thing that you can do is sabihin mo, mag-resign ka. Kung hindi, itutuloy ko yung kaso ko sa'yo. Itutuloy ko yung investigasyon. So, yun yung pwedeng sinasabing binibigyan mo siya ng graceful exit. But apart from that, any offer of resignation that is not merely giving the employee a graceful exit is deemed as constructive dismissal. And do not make the resignation for them. Huwag ikaw yung gagawa ng resignation para sa kanila. Diba? Marami kasi mga na sila yung gumagawa ng resignation, pinapapirma na lang. Bawal yun. Oo. So, yun ang bawal. Do not go them to write in their resignation that they are not filing a case against you. So, mali rin yun. Meron ng Supreme Court decision na nagre-resign gumawa ng resignation, nakalagay pa doon sa resignation letter na hindi siya maghahabol sa kumpanya. Wala namang empleyado na ganun. Ibig sabihin, pag ganun ang tenor ng resignation, ibig sabihin, it is goaded by the employer. Yung employer ang gumawa. So, ano nga ba yung mga valid elements sa resignation letter? First is that it was made and signed by the employee. Second, is state the reason of the resignation. And third, it expresses words of thanks. And yung pinakadulo, yung there must be before and after behavioral signs. Ano yung before and after behavioral signs? So, di ba sinabi natin kanina that the resignation must state the reason for the resignation. So, ang tamang resignation letter is that talagang sinasite niya kung ano yung rason kung ba't siya nagre-resign. So, kung sinabi niyang magpupunta siya sa probinsya, yung before behavioral signs, ibig sabihin, bumili siya ng ticket. Yung after behavioral signs is sumakay siya ng barko. So, kung halimbawang walang before and after behavioral signs sa resignation, minsan most of the time hindi tinatanggap yan na valid yung resignation. Kasi ang empleyado, hindi naman yan para aalis ng trabaho niya kung walang rason. So malamang kaya umalis yan o nag-resign yan dahil nag-visit sa'yo, dahil nagkaroon ng constructive dismissal. Pero kung mayroong rason, sinabi niya mag-aaral siya, yung before behavioral science, nag-enroll siya, and after behavioral sciences, na talagang nag-aaral naman. So, the resignation talaga is genuine. Ngayon is a quit claim valid, di ba? Kasi karamihan ng mga employer pagka pirma ng resignation, pinapapirma rin ng quit claim. So, sabihin quit claim, hindi na siya magpapail ng kaso sa NLRC. So, is that a valid document? Well, valid yan kung first if it contains a reasonable amount, in exchange of a reasonable amount, mabigyan siya ng pera, and okay naman yung pera, malapit sa kanyang separation pay. Tapos, especially kung nanotaryo yan before a notary public or napasubscribe yan sa isang official ng DOLE or NLRC, valid talaga yan. So, not all quit claims are per se invalid or against public policy. A quit claim is against public policy only, or from an unsuspecting where there is clear proof that the quick claim was wrangled from an unsuspecting or gullible person, yung mga hindi nakapag-aral, yung mga naive. Tapos, where the terms of the settlement is unconscionable on their face, so yan, yung quick claim magiging invalid kasi kung yung pumirma niya, mababa pinag-aralan. Pangalawa, ang baba-baba nung binigay sa kanyang considerations. So, pwede niyong atakihin na yung validity ng quick claim. So, nag-resign, pumirma ng quick claim. Are you supposed to give him a separation pay? No, there is no provisions in the labor code which grants separation pay to an employee who voluntarily resigns. Wala. So sabi natin kanina, ang entitlement lang niya, yung last pay niya, 13th month and SILP. Pero separation pay, hindi. Ano exception dito? If it is a company practice, so company practice, therefore, it cannot be taken away because it will violate the non-diminution of wage principle or non-diminution of benefits principle. And second, another exception is that if it is stipulated in the employment contract, so kung doon sa employment contract nakalagay doon na pag nag-resign ako, bibigyan mo ako separation pay, bibigyan mo talaga yan. Or if there's an CBA. So, yun. Okay. So, let's continue.